Hey there, you're listening to the Girls Talking Life podcast, and I'm your host, Johanna. If you're like me, you love time with friends. I always leave feeling encouraged, inspired to try something different, or I've learned something new. So why not continue to grow even when we can't be with our girlfriends? We're not made to do life on our own. So in each episode of this show, I'll bring you a girl and her story to give you refreshing ideas to stir your soul. Let's walk this road together. Are you ready to talk life? Welcome to the very first Girls Talking Life Extra. This isn't a full episode today, it's just a short chat with a past guest to hear what she's up to now. I'm talking with Lori Mercer. Lori was a guest all the way back on episode 7. If you haven't heard Lori's story, be sure to go back and listen. Lori is a single mom of 4. She runs a successful online business where she freelances, and she also trains other women to be virtual professionals. But today, we're talking all about something coming up this fall called the Sisterhood Experience. Like I say in the intro, I love time with friends, and I don't believe that we're made to do life on our own, which is why I'm excited for what Lori has planned. This is a women's event that's too fun to be called a conference, and it's too important to be called a girls' weekend. It's a 48-hour escape in Columbus, Ohio, this October. But that's enough from me. Let's jump into my chat with Lori so you can hear all about it. Hey, Lori, thank you for joining me. I am really excited to hear about what you have going on right now.
Thank you so much for having me. I love your podcast. I love watching it grow and hearing from all the amazing women. And that's sort of what I have going on right now. I'm like, I would not be standing here without the women in my life. And you are doing such a good job of showcasing those stories on your podcast. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, thank you. It has been so fun. It's been a great experience for me. Just on an individual level, I feel like everyone's a counseling session. And then I get to share those with all the women who listen, which is just so wonderful and such a blessing to me.
Right. And I mean, reaching women with the positive messages, I think, is really in my heart. I have women privately coming to me. So I was on your podcast and I dropped some big bombs like, holy cow, look what's going on in Lori's world, divorce, anorexia, lost her father, on and on. I have a gay son. I don't know if I even said that at that time. I don't know if that was sort of like we were being public about it, but went through that stuff as well. And it's a lot. And so since my story starts to come out, women have come to me like, how are you even standing? How are you even standing? And I'm like, I've reflected on that. And, it's my faith for one, but it is the girlfriends around me that some you expect and some you're like, girl, I can't even believe you just showed up for me like that. So super, super important to me to recognize that we all need that community of women.
I absolutely agree. And Lori was on episode 7. So if you wanted to go back and hear her story, she has an amazing story from her business to her family and just the things she's doing now. You won't want to miss out.
Yeah, it was pretty raw back then because I was pretty right in the thick of it. So I feel like almost like a new woman where I am now. I can't remember what date we recorded that, but yeah, I'm really, really in a different space. And at the beginning of this year, I had this feeling like, Lori, you need to do a women's event. And I sort of thought it was going to be in April. And some things happened. And I'm like, no, this isn't right. It's not going to happen. And this summer, as I was coming back from our commitment weekend, so here I am, a divorced woman for the second year in a row, hosting a marriage weekend for firefighters, because that's what my nonprofit does. I felt like this supernatural strength just getting through that event. And the event was amazing. And I'm driving home 8 hours by myself from that event while everybody else is driving home in their renewed marriages, right? And that could have been a really downhill moment for me. In fact, I tried hard to get somebody to ride with me, almost begging. And in the end, it didn't work out. And it was exactly how it should have been because I was able to really reflect on the event. The fact that we've done that event 8 years in a row, that 8 times doing an event is really unheard of. I mean, it's hard to kind of keep the momentum and keep an event successful. And I'm like, you need to bring this back for the women. You need a women's event. I like doing events. I think I'm kind of good at doing events. And there's some secret sauce in there that I think other events don't get. So from that moment on, I'm like, all right, I'm doing a women's event. And we have to bring it back. And so that's when Sisterhood Experience was kind of confirmed. And that was July. Now here we are early September, and it's already going to happen here end of October.
Okay. Wow. So you know what you're doing. You're an experienced planner, but this is going to be different than the events that you've had in the past.
Right.
Who is this for?
Right. So for me, I built first the Firewife Sisterhood, right? So firefighter wives, and we knew we were onto something special. And I look now at the community of women around me and I'm like, I can't just leave this for firefighter wives. Like they have the nonprofit in their community. Like I have all kinds of circles of women around me now saying what I said, like, Lori, how are you even standing? And, they need to hear this message. They need to have a piece of this. So I would say it is for women. It's still pretty broad, right? Because it's our first time. So I can let the spirit flow and see what happens. But it's for women that, need an escape, I said, you need a break, but you also need a breakthrough. I can't call it a retreat or a conference because that kind of sounds too boring, but it's not just a girls getaway because that sounds too fluffy.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll have elements of both. It's that middle road in between. And that's why I call it an experience. Like you show up sort of like, I need to be here. And you leave going, oh, I know exactly why I needed to be here. And I'm so filled up. So if I had to say a demographic, I'd say working moms, whether you're working on your own business or whether you're working outside the home. I think that's a common denominator that pulls us all in, of women who are like, really, I'm at the end of my rope. How am I going to get through this next hurdle? And the hurdle could be juggling a special needs child with your work schedule. It could be being a first responder wife. It could be a difficult marriage. It could be an aging parent. It could be a battle with depression, anxiety of your own. It could be a career challenge or trying to bust out of corporate, like any of those things. When you add it to your plate of already all the hats you have to wear, could really take you down. And I don't think like they have to. Yeah.
Everyone has something.
Right.
It's just knowing your thing.
Yeah. And I don't want to name it, right? Because everyone has something. Like we all have something to overcome. We're all walking a different path, but it's that overcoming piece, and it's doing it in community and not in isolation. So one of the reasons I would say my marriage failed is because there was isolation. And I see this in friendships, like when a friend pulls back, and they're not just pulling back from you, they're pulling back from addressing things going on. And so really being a little vulnerable and putting yourself out there into a safe and sacred community. I like those words. I don't know where they fit in my marketing yet, but I'm like, I want this to be a safe and sacred community of women where we can be vulnerable and we can build these friendships and, really be that person or people that help you through whatever it is you're overcoming.
That sounds really great. I want to be in a safe and sacred community.
Right. And let me add one more thing, because why am I making this an event? Because there's a ton of Facebook groups, right? There's a ton of like, if you want to know about, I have a gay child going off to college, just pick a topic. There's a zillion Facebook groups on that topic. And, you can go find information, but what's the difference between just kind of a community that meets online and hides behind keyboards versus really connecting into a sisterhood? And when I built the Firefighter Wife Sisterhood, the first things we did was show up in people's mailboxes with products and have live events where we could look each other in the eye. That was a game changer. So I don't want to just build a safe and sacred community in a Facebook group, because to be flat honest with you, I don't think Facebook is super safe. There's some sacred moments there, but I don't think it's super safe. And it's because we can hide. And even if you're being safe and vulnerable and not hiding, somebody else could be hiding and you can end up hurt. So I think we really need to get in person and look each other in the eye and invest that time in ourselves and working through those topics to build that safe and sacred community.
So what can someone experience if they choose to attend?
Right. So the experience sort of goes like this. The first night you're showing up and you're like, I don't know all these people. I'm really nervous, but I just feel like I need to be here. And we'll kind of break down, break the ice a little bit, break through those nerves. Like, all right, I'm going to like these girls. This is going to be fun. It'll be, an experience on that first night to connect and really know, all right, this is going to be okay. The next day, there's a little bit of work. And I don't even like to do the word work because it's so fun. It's girl talk at its best, where we give you a little bit of guided speakers, a little bit of guided workshop kinds of things, panels, and you need to put a little work into, whatever your issue you're trying to overcome. So if you're building a business, I have business builder tracks. If you're trying to career climb a corporate ladder, we have some tracks for that. If it's a relationship struggle, whether it's friendship, marriage, family, whatever that is, those topics are there too. So we'll do a little bit of work in that space of dropping those negative emotions, shame, guilt, fear, worry. Like whenever I spend time in those, whenever anybody spends time in those, it's a negative energy sucker and we're not going to get anywhere. And I don't believe that's where we're supposed to spend time. Mm-hmm. We can be convicted that I need to do better, but we shouldn't sit in shame and guilt and fear over it. So we're going to figure out what are our little blockers, and we're going to do some workshop-y stuff on Friday. And of course, we're going to cap that with a fun social activity. And on Saturday, by then, everybody's all connected and revved up. And I'm sure we have some funny inside jokes that we'll be sharing with each other and participating in a fun and fearless activity. So I really like to stretch women a little bit. I'm probably a little more extreme than most women and things I like to do.
This is probably the part that would make me nervous, Lori.
It's not going to make you nervous. So I design it so that all you have to do is stretch your comfort level a little bit, just a little bit. And that's what we want to do together as a group of girls, right? It's so much safer to do that in a group of women than in a co-ed group or with your husband even, right? So we'll stretch you just a little bit as much as you want to go, and it'll be super fun. And I'm sure there will be amazing photo moments. And then optionally, some people might have to dish out because it's, kids and whatever. So that's 48 hours, but there will be a lot of informal social stuff after that for those who can hang around for a little longer. But that's kind of the gist of the event. And I know that sounds really conceptual, right? But it's the first time. So as a business leader and, a woman who's done this stuff before, I'm putting out there an experience, and there's going to be the right group of people that rallies around the first one. And then we will learn and adapt and go from there. But I have no doubt that exactly the right women who need to be at this event are going to be there and experience a breakthrough of some sort.
That sounds great. And I know that you are so transparent and you bring heart to everything that you do that I can't imagine this being anything but a huge success, and the women that are there making their breakthrough and absolutely loving it.
Right. Thank you. And, that's how you have to look at it. So these are the things I've learned, like in business. I've built a number of businesses. I run my own business from home as a single mom now with 4 kids, which is scary as heck some days, but exhilarating on others, both, all at the same time. And, I've learned that we can have a vision, we can put something out there, and, then we need to follow our intuition and kind of the Holy Spirit and let it guide what's going to happen here, what's going to show up. So I can't wait to see what shows up. I know whatever shows up is exactly what's supposed to show up. It's not dependent on how much work Lori does or does not do. I can't shame myself or beat myself up. And that's the experience I want the women that come to the event to feel. So maybe a little more specifics, right? If you are a business owner, I have a VIP level where you will get business training with me. And really, it's the perfect time of year. It's end of October that we will be looking into goal setting for the next year, for 2020 already. And right? I mean, can you believe? That's the right time to do it, to start wrapping your brain around it at the end of October, because then we head into the holiday rush, and then it's January 15th and we haven't even bought our planner yet. That happens.
That sounds right.
So I want us to pre-think about it and kind of have a foundation, and then you can let it simmer for the rest of the year. Okay, I feel good. This is where I'm going. This is where I'm going. What's going to come up out of this? So there will be some business aspects there. But if you're not a real, business achieving kind of person like me, if you're just a woman that's I need a sisterhood, then I still want you to show up, because there's still stuff going on. If you were to sit down across the table from me and I'd be no, really tell me what's going on in your life. Then, you might be, can I tell on you what we said before we started recording? You're
sure, go ahead.
Getting into this routine after school started. We're still trying to reset that. What does that look like? We all have that something on our plate that we're working through. And I think we do better doing that in community and being inspired by other people who have kind of been down that path. So there will be other women besides me sharing their stories. And I hope that whoever shows up will really feel that kind of, inspiration and encouragement.
So let's talk dates and location.
Yeah, those logistical details, right? It's going to be in Columbus, Ohio, which, as you and I both know, is an amazing city. As I travel the country, Columbus doesn't have this reputation of being I want to go to Columbus, Ohio. I'm you guys, y'all are missing out. Our downtown is revitalized. We're going to be at the DoubleTree Suites downtown. I'm going to encourage hotel sharing, because that's also part of the after event experience where the sisterhood really happens. And we have these big suites, super nice. It's October 24th, 25th, 26th. And we are also meeting in some gorgeous co-working space in downtown Columbus. So it's not like a boring hotel conference room. Like it's one of those really like innovative and inspiring spaces called Serendipity. Could the name be any better?
Yeah, that sounds fun.
It's right around the corner from the hotel. So it's all within walking distance. And we have a couple nice cocktail hours and social events scheduled also within walking distance of the hotel. So we'll be in downtown Columbus and just girl bonding, kind of, I don't know why this word's come to mind. I know why it is, but you can smile when I say it, kind of business badassery stuff going on, because that's how my business girls talk.
Okay, I like it.
Right? And yeah, and lots of laughter.
Would you encourage someone to come alone, or is this the kind of thing that you want to grab your girlfriends and bring to?
Really either, right? So I think nobody should be afraid to come alone to this. Nobody. And if you are, like, I want you to message me and talk about that, like get to know me a little bit first. I think that's only fair. Like if you're going to invest the time to come spend 48 hours with Lori Mercer, I want you to be like, who is this girl? And is she going to be able to, inspire me? So coming alone is really brave and already a big step. And a lot of people have already messaged me about this, or like, I work, I take care of my husband and my son, but I don't have my people. Like I have work friends, but I don't have my people. And she's like, I don't know anybody, but I really need to be there. So that's somebody that's coming alone. And then there's others where it's like, well, I'm bringing my bestie because she and I have been working through this thing together, and we're going to show up and, we're going to expand our sisterhood and keep pounding through that.
That sounds great.
It's a great question.
Where can people find more information, and where can they get their ticket?
Sisterhoodexperience.com is all the event details. And you can reach me also on Instagram. Instant message, Lori Mercer CTO is my Instagram. But sisterhoodexperience.com should have all the details and registration.
Okay. Well, that sounds great, Lori.
Probably one other important detail is that early bird pricing ends on September 17th.
Okay.
That's coming right up. So definitely get over there before that.
Okay. Everything sounds super wonderful. I'm really excited for it. I'm excited to be talking to you about it and partnering with you on it. So thanks for coming on to share.
For sure. You're exactly the type of woman that embodies the sisterhood, and I'd love to have your participation with it.
I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Lori and learning more about her upcoming event. She is so transparent, and I just love learning from her. I hope you'll join me in October at the Sisterhood Experience. For all the details and to register, go to sisterhoodexperience.com. And like Lori mentioned, if you have questions, she would love to chat with you. Thanks for tuning in, friends.